quite frankly, this recipe is brought to you by the fact that Ryan and I can't be trusted alone in the house late at night. So we are gonna make a gluten-free cheesecake, but instead of using regular crust, we're gonna use Rice Krispie treats. We found an old booklet that had this recipe for Rice Krispie treat crust. It didn't even say that. I think it just said crispy crust. And since I can't have gluten, it seemed like a great idea. And then when Ryan looked up online, he found that the suggestion was making a cheesecake out of it, which sounds amazing. So we're gonna do that. I've gone ahead and already melted the butter and the marshmallow here. And we're gonna add in 6 cups of Rice Krispie cereal. Okay, true facts. It's not actually the entire bag. Also, we're gonna move this here. So we've added in the Rice Krispie treat and now we're just mixing it together. And then it makes this delightfully ooey gooey mess, which is not violently orange as it was when it was Cheetos, but we'll live. This might be more enjoyable to like a lot more people. So now that we got that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna press it into a springform pan exactly like we would a pie crust, so up and around the edges. And the recipe didn't say to spray down the pan with cooking spray, but it did have cooking spray in the ingredients. So I'm going to make an educated guess there that that's what we're supposed to do with that. So I'm just gonna try to do this with the least amount of mess as possible, which is always my goal. So the thing with Rice Krispie treats is this point always looks like natto to me, which is a Japanese fermented soybean. Yikes. So this is very, very sticky, predictably. So, I've got some parchment paper here. I might try to get a little creative with pressing it down using my hands. Hardest part about shooting videos is not putting Rice Krispie treat pieces in your mouth immediately while you are cooking. I'm very good at tearing things. So the recipe didn't actually have a whole, it was like make Rice Krispie treats and press them into a pan like you would a pie crust. So you would not be this forceful with a pie crust, but we're gonna do our best here to make like a nice little home for our cheesecake. To be honest, I don't know how this is gonna be because you're supposed to refrigerate it, right? Like you do with a cheesecake. Well, with a cheesecake, you don't have to bake. This is a no-bake cheesecake. I've never made cheesecake before, so, you know, I'm making a lot of guesses here. But this recipe called itself a cheesecake, and it has it in the fridge, which I think is gonna make the Rice Krispie treats really, I don't know, will it make them too hard? Well, things I should learn how to do. Center in on where the camera is. Yikes. She says that she's undone all of her work. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this like it is, and I'm just gonna put it in the fridge while I'm making the rest of the cheesecake, and hopefully that'll make the butter marshmallow bit less sticky, and I'll be able to pull that back a little easier. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the cheesecake part. So I've gone ahead and pureed some of the blueberries that we're gonna use. We've got cream cheese, we've got butter, we've got condensed milk, I've got sugar off to the side, and that's it. Pretty simple recipe. So let's see how it turns out and also if I mess it up. So we're gonna save these for on top. We are going to use these later. And the very first thing we're going to do is mix the cream cheese and the butter on medium for about 4 minutes. Now, the recipe didn't specify whether it needed to be softened butter or softened cream cheese. Now I've left these out because I assumed that's what it wanted, but my butter is still a little, mixing it at 4 minutes should make it fine, I think. So we're just gonna go ahead and give this a try. Now we're gonna mix that for about 4 minutes on medium. Okay. So the next step is going to be to do mix in the milk and the sugar. So the milk is 6 ounces of condensed milk. I want to make sure that we get all 6 ounces in there, or as much of it as we can. Okay. And then we need 2 tablespoons of sugar. 1 tablespoon. 2 tablespoons. And then we're supposed to go ahead and mix that on medium for another 2 minutes. So the next bit said add the berries and then mix on medium until no longer solid, but it also told me to puree the berries ahead of time. So I pureed the berries. It's just some blueberries. We're gonna add it in. It also talked smack about fruit yogurt. It was like you would with a yogurt, except this will actually taste good. Like, what's with the hate on yogurt? I like yogurt. So actually, since I did puree them, I'm just gonna mix it with this because I'm gonna make sure it's like all really incorporated. Not exactly Christmas colors, but you know what? That's okay. So there are some lumps in here, but I have a feeling that's just because it's cold in the apartment and I don't know that everything was like super melty. Look, doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be delicious. We can work on perfection later. Much better. So some of this is gonna be like a very thick crust. All right, so then we're just gonna pour this in and then it goes in the fridge for at least 2 hours. I'm making this for tomorrow, so we'll come back tomorrow and check on it. But first, make this out as best we can. Can I hide those lumps under smooth? We're gonna put some cute little berries on top to smooth it out. And by smooth it out, I meant hide the imperfections. Some of this crust looks like too tall. I'm just gonna mold it down like this. It didn't say to cover it, but I'm gonna go ahead and cover it in some saran wrap just so that I don't end up like dropping something into it in the fridge. And then we'll come back tomorrow and see how it is. You can see I was not exactly even with the thickness of my crust here. But yeah, I don't know, it doesn't look too bad. So we'll go ahead and put it in the fridge and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. So here we have the cheesecake and we're gonna see how it turned out. I mean, that looks pretty good, right? Okay, so springform pan makes it easy. Put that off to the side. That is a pretty damn good looking cheesecake, guys. We're going to go ahead and cut into this. Okay, well at least we know the crust is solid. Let's see. So one thing is it just came out of the fridge and you know, I don't usually store my Rice Krispie treats in the fridge. So I don't wonder if it's just a little stiffer than it needs to be. Let's try. I feel like when we get this piece out, it's gonna be really pretty. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. All right. Well, that doesn't look bad. You guys, it's a cheesecake. It actually looks like a cheesecake. This part, pulling it out, it's like a little soft in the middle, but I think that's also because I was like sawing through it a whole bunch. So it looks pretty good. It's holding together. So let's give it a try. Cheesecake. Okay, so the weird thing is, the cheesecake part is really good. It does taste like a slightly softer blueberry cheesecake, but the Rice Krispie treat crust makes it like it's chewier than a normal crust would be, which is like a little weird. But it doesn't taste bad, and it does. I mean, obviously, just because Rice Krispies in general, marshmallows, butter, makes the whole cheesecake taste like a little more buttery, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't wonder if maybe making a much thinner crust would be like better for this. Well, I guess I haven't even gotten to that part because the bottom part here isn't all that thick. Not bad, but like a little confusing. I thought the crust was going to be really hard just because it had been in the fridge, and like Rice Krispie treats in the fridge seemed like, I don't know that they would get too hard or something like that, but they didn't. That's not bad. I would make this again for a party because I think it's fun for something like that. All I can think of is that like this makes it really easy to just like pick it up and eat it like pizza, which is I think the way that you should eat it if you ever bring it to a party. So I'm gonna go enjoy my handheld cheesecake piece here. Overall, I'd consider this a success.